Donald Trump is set to be sworn in as the next president of the United States in just a couple of weeks. But in the short time since his election victory, he has already betrayed his MAGA base. And not just them. In reality, he has sold out everyone who voted for him, especially those who are not millionaires or billionaires. This betrayal is glaringly evident in the makeup of his cabinet, which boasts the highest net worth in U.S. history. Trump's elections reflect a government run by billionaires, far removed from the everyday struggles of working Americans. Adding to this sense of abandonment, Trump has been seen mingling with the richest man on the planet, further cementing his alignment with elite economic interests. But beyond merely associating with billionaires, Trump has also begun to backtrack on some of his most significant campaign promises. One of the most notable reversals concerns his pledge to reduce prices, including prescription drugs and essential goods. After months of campaign rhetoric assuring voters that he would tackle rising costs, Trump has now admitted he likely won't be able to deliver on this promise. This leaves his supporters feeling misled and abandoned just weeks before he even takes office. Robert McCoy, writing for the New Republic, captures the growing disillusionment among Trump's base. McCoy explains that Trump functioned as a political chameleon during the campaign, becoming whatever his supporters wanted him to be. Voters projected their desires onto him, often overlooking his inconsistent statements, blatant lies, and lack of concrete plans. This ambiguity allowed Trump to attract support from opposing sides of key issues, creating a coalition built on conflicting fantasies. However, this illusion cannot last. Once Trump assumes office and begins implementing policies, reality will set in, and many of his supporters will realize they were sold a false bill of goods. McCoy further predicts that Trump's overestimation of his mandate could provoke a historic backlash, particularly if he pushes his most extreme proposals. This assessment aligns with concerns many observers have expressed over the past 2 months. Trump's policies are likely to bring hardship not only to his supporters, but to all Americans, regardless of political affiliation. The pain caused by his administration's actions will be widespread and indiscriminate. For instance, Trump's threats to close the borders and deport millions of undocumented immigrants could have devastating effects on the economy. Both liberal and conservative economists agree that mass deportations would severely disrupt industries reliant on immigrant labor, leading to labor shortages, price increases, and reduced economic growth. Trump's hardline stance on immigration, combined with his rhetoric and executive actions, indicates that these deportations are not just campaign bluster. They are very likely to happen, with dire economic consequences. In addition to immigration policies, Trump's position on tariffs poses another significant threat to the economy. Despite repeated warnings about the dangers of tariffs, Trump has doubled down on his commitment to imposing them. Tariffs, as economists explain, are ultimately paid by American companies importing goods, and these costs are inevitably passed down to consumers. This means higher prices for everyday items, squeezing household budgets and fueling inflation. Trump's approach to trade policy risks sparking a trade war that could further destabilize the economy. Trump's promise to lower gas prices also appears to be in jeopardy. His actions have already alienated key trade partners, including Canada, which supplies much of the oil imported by the United States. In response to Trump's tariffs, Canada has even threatened to cut off power exports to the U.S., a move that could exacerbate energy costs and further strain international relations. Trump's failure to secure exemptions for key allies from his tariffs suggests that Americans should brace for rising energy prices instead of the reductions he repeatedly promised. With all these looming challenges, the question becomes, what can Americans do with this knowledge? For Trump supporters, whether diehard MAGA loyalists or reluctant voters who supported him in 2024, the options are limited but critical. First, they can choose to remain in denial, pretending everything is fine even as evidence mounts that it is not. Second, they can acknowledge the situation but resign themselves to it, becoming complicit in the damage caused by Trump's policies. Or third, and most importantly, they can learn from this experience. Learning from mistakes means more than simply deciding not to vote for Trump again. It means committing to greater vigilance and responsibility in the electoral process. It means researching candidates thoroughly, understanding their policies, and listening to experts rather than falling for slogans and soundbites. Many Trump voters are already experiencing buyer's remorse, realizing too late that they were misled about tariffs, immigration policies, and economic impacts. Stories abound of voters discovering, after casting their ballots, that Trump's policies threaten their jobs, businesses, and even their families. This buyer's remorse could serve as a wake-up call, provided voters use it as an opportunity for growth. Educating oneself about policies, questioning campaign rhetoric, and verifying claims with factual data are essential steps to avoiding similar mistakes in the future. It's not enough to regret past decisions. Voters must take proactive steps to ensure history does not repeat itself. The extent of this awakening remains uncertain. Some voters will undoubtedly learn and change their approach, but others will continue to cling to false narratives. The real question is whether enough Americans will recognize the dangers of complacency and misinformation to prevent future disasters like this one. As we move forward, it is crucial to remain engaged, informed, and active in the political process. The consequences of apathy are too high, and the lessons of this election should not be ignored. Only by holding leaders accountable and demanding transparency can we build a government that truly serves the people. Stay tuned for more updates, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel for daily content. Follow us across all social media platforms for the latest news and analysis as we continue to monitor developments and hold those in power accountable.